roads lead to Turner Field in downtown Atlanta as once again the Braves have a chance to knock off the Toronto Blue Jays and win a second series head-to-head this season. We wrap up our three-game set on a beautiful night for baseball here in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip, welcome back to the ballpark. Hard to believe, pal, we've got 16 games left. A lot of things for these youngsters to prove, not only to themselves, the rest of Major League Baseball, Joe, but also the Braves decision makers who are in town and plotting strategy for 2016 and beyond.
Yeah, some organizational meetings going on this week, and as the days are winding down, the opportunities get fewer and fewer for these young players who are trying to make an impression on these people. Daniel Garcia is one guy who has opened up a lot of eyes. The power of Adonis Garcia was evident. Hector Oliveira back in the lineup tonight. We need to see more at-bats from him to see how good he really might be. And Christian Betancourt, you could put him in there too in that category because his play has been spotty off and on, but he does have a couple of three-hit games in the last week, so his numbers have been good. They're the guys. They've got to start making hay while the sun's still shining. And that also applies to some pitchers as we get near the end of the season. The pitchers that have been put in the spotlight, Matt Whistler, Ryan Weber, Williams Perez, and Mike Foltynewicz, who has been on the shelf with pneumonia, but he's going to be able to pitch. He's got another bullpen to work on. Then he'll be back ready to pitch out of the bullpen. But all four of these guys are running out of chances to show what they can do. Matt Whistler is the first guy up tonight with an opportunity to pitch well.
And he pitched well in his last outing, but he, like Shelby Miller, has a long winless streak working. It's been 8 straight starts for Matt Whistler between wins. Hopefully he can crack into the win column tonight and help the Braves take 2 out of 3 from Toronto. When we come back, Paul Berg will talk about the Whiz Kid as the Braves and Jays finish the series next.
Sports and outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Well, guys, let's talk about today's starting pitcher, the whiz kid, Matt Whistler. I was able to catch up with Roger McDowell, who reminded Matt of a former teammate, Oral Hershiser, who did not have any crazy tattoos or nasty beard to intimidate the competition. But he said every fifth day when Oral took the mound, he was a bulldog, and you wanted him on that mound. Liking that to Matt Wisler, who also has a good sinker, who is also very clean cut with no nasty beard or tattoos. He would like to see a difference in his approach. Matt Wisler responded, and here's what his thoughts are and what he's working on tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Coming to that game and watching, having a little bit of success helps. Just kind of like, just attacking hitters again, getting after it, not thinking about anything besides, getting outs. Just really just attacking the glove. I think, hopefully take that mentality, and if I get guys on base, be able to take that extra gear and, figure out ways to get out of stuff. We have a month left, either 8 appearances or 5 starts or something left. So, take what I've learned and, hopefully go out the last 5 starts or whatever appearances I have and, do well.
So the difference is in approach. Look for him to attack that strike zone and make things happen tonight. Stuff doesn't have to change at all. This guy's a number 1, number 2 starter, so we're all excited to see Matt Wisler throw. And hey, it's a split, so we got the rubber match coming up next against the first place Blue Jays.
The Jays evened things up here last night, winning 9-1, and here's how John Gibbons lines him up for the rubber match of the series. Ben Revere has hit the Braves hard. Hits in 14 of his last 17 games against the Braves. He's the table setter. Then you've got all those cleanup hitters hitting second, third, and fourth in the middle of the lineup. One change tonight. Russell Martin's out. Deanna Navarro is in, and Matt Wisler gets to face this group tonight.
Yeah, but if you notice, he didn't disrupt his lineup. He put Navarro right into Russell Martin's place, so everybody's otherwise is batting in the same spot. Matt Wisler makes his 16th start. He's 5-7 on the year. First time through the order has not really been a problem. He's had his share of first inning problems like everybody else, but it's the second and third time through, and tonight that will be a real challenge for him as he faces the Blue Jays for the first time. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Well, we talked in the pregame show. We'll talk all night about his need to stay down in the zone. AC/DC had a great song called Go Down. He's got to have all 4 of his pitches down in the zone today. And Breaker 1-9. He's got a good breaking ball, and he's going to need it tonight. And we have noticed in the first 2 games, especially those guys at the top of the order, they're aggressive. They'll chase some breaking balls down and away. He needs a good one tonight.
It's been 8 long starts for Matt Wisler between victories. So this would be a great time for him to pick up his 6th win of the season. He'll need some help from his defense. Atlanta struggled with the leather last night. A rare odd 2-error game for Andrelton Simmons at shortstop. but he's back in there anchoring the Braves defensive lineup. Swisher, Maven, and Markakis in the outfield. Hector Olivera gets the start at third base, and A.J. Przinsky is back in the lineup for Game 3. One of those games for Andrelton, you just file it away and forget about it. 2 errors, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, a relay throw off the helmet of the runner, and then a bad hop.
So Ben Revere's ready to go. So's Matt Whistler, and we are underway. Ball 1 outside. Revere hitting .358 in those 17 games against the Braves, during which he's got a hit in 14 of them. You know about the big deals that Toronto made. This was an under the radar move for the Jays. They got a leadoff hitter and another excellent outfielder. And that's propelled them to the top of the AL East. And Whistler's missed with 3 straight for Ben Revere.
How long do you think it took Revere to go from Philadelphia to Toronto?
As fast as he could.
Fast as his little legs would carry him.
There you go. There's a strike. First of the night for Whistler. 3-1 your count. With all this power, you just can't afford to walk people in the Toronto lineup. And that's exactly what Matt just did. A leadoff pass. Toronto, best winning percentage in the game after the All-Star break. First in runs, homers, ERA, and bases on balls too. That's how you score 7, 8, 9 runs a game.
AJ's already out there to talk to Matt. Could be he noticed something. And that was a long chat. I mean, he's going to have to set his jaw a little bit tonight. Have a little grit in his craw and get after these guys. He can't continue to pitch away like that and have the ball running off the plate to those left-handed hitters.
And from a practical standpoint too, the Braves bullpen's been used a lot in this series. As Josh Donaldson digs in and didn't mean to swing and fouls it away. 2 starts for Atlanta have totaled 9 1/3 innings. Last night Shelby Miller 3 2/3 innings. Julio Teheran went 5 2/3 in the opener on Tuesday night.
I don't know if he meant to. It didn't look like the target was inside, but that was a good pitch running in on Donaldson.
With 119 RBIs. And it was taken low, I suppose. 38 homers for Donaldson. And he's been a quick starter. 13 of those 38 have come in the first inning. Revere's perfect 5 for 5 in stolen bases with the Blue Jays. He had 24 stolen bases in 29 tries with the Phillies. And he draws another throw. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
95 on that heater. We've seen Matt over his last couple of starts be more aggressive with his fastball after that relief outing he had. Realized that he could work quicker and be more aggressive.
But as you've said a couple of times in the series, it's a real dilemma for a young pitcher, I'm sure. This is an excellent fastball hitting team for Toronto. Matt has a good fastball. So you look up and down their lineup card and you say, okay, 35 homers, 32 homers, 38 homers. 2 guys with 100 RBIs, 1 man sitting on 99.
You still throw the fastball. You just can't throw it down the middle.
There you go. And Whistler just balked. 2 umpires called the balk on Whistler, who's not sure what he did. Matt had a balk in his last start, if memory serves.
He asked Gary Cederstrom what he did, and Cederstrom just kind of waved his arms sideways. I don't know what that meant, and I didn't see what he called. He might have been the guy at third base last night that called the one on Shelby Miller. And Balkaday Bob's not even here.
Are they related by marriage or
Don't
something?
know.
1 ball, 2 strikes. More Josh Donaldson, and that's blocked by AJ downstairs. 2-2. Another first inning meeting.
Yeah, this is probably runner at second. Signs. He's made 15 starts. He's 22 years old, and he's facing arguably the most ferocious lineup in baseball. There's got to be a few butterflies.
Struck out Donaldson. There's the good heat at 95.
Four-seamer right there. Tail back over the outer third. Donaldson 1 for 10 in the series.
And Joe, you make a good point about this ferocious lineup for Toronto. Last 6 appearances for Matt Whistler. Wait till I tell you the murderer's row he's had to go through on the mound. As Batista takes a breaking ball. At Wrigley Field, home to the Yankees. A relief appearance or 2 against Washington, the Mets, and now Toronto. Go get them, son.
There's no relief there.
No balls and a strike. For Jose Bautista with 35 homers and 102 knocked in.
But as we were talking in our opening comments, this is where you make marks. These are starts that the manager remembers, the pitching coach remembers when you pitch well against these good hitting ball clubs, how you were bearing down when you needed to make good pitches.
Popped up right side. Freddie Freeman backpedals and in foul ground puts the squeeze on that. So he strikes out Donaldson, pops out Bautista, and he's an out away from getting out of the first inning.
All of this adds up. It adds up to 2016. Whatever you're compiling right now, and in a large way what you've done to this point, but especially these last impressions, your last 2 or 3 starts, or your last game or 2 as a hitter, lasting impressions mean a lot.
Revere at second for Encarnacion. Launches that one out of play. We don't know what the Braves' plans are for this pitching staff next year. I would assume that there are 2 certainties, Julio Teheran and Shelby Miller. After that, well, you're right. These last 3 starts for the remaining men in rotation will be very important.
Well, those lasting impressions, if they're good ones, are an indication that you've made some strides, you've made some improvement. The so-called steps to getting better that Freddie Gonzalez referred to, they get noticed.
1 ball, 1 strike for Encarnacion, who had 3 hits last night and took a pitch in the dirt.
So far his breaking ball looks good. He's going to need it tonight.
John Gibbons and the Jays getting their first look at Matt tonight. And a roller just foul. 2-2. Revere walked, took second on a balk. Encarnacion down to his final strike. And he launches that to right and deep. Markakis back, and on the track calls it in, and that retires the side. Encarnacion can't believe it. Nick Markakis tracked it down, and a leadoff walk is wasted by the Blue Jays in the top of the first. Good catch, good start for Whistler. The Braves go to work against Marco Estrada when we come back. Braves, who hope to win their 58th game of the season. Boy, Nick Markakis has been on a tear, hitting .303 out of the leadoff spot for Atlanta. He starts the Academy Sports and Outdoors attack with Hector Oliveira batting second. Jace Peterson's back in the lineup. Good to see Maben in there too. And Marco Estrada is the man on the hill for the Jays.
Marco Estrada is 32 years old, 6 feet 180 out of Silmar, California, in his 6th year. 10 games in his career against the Braves. Good numbers in 4 starts out of those 10. This guy is #1 in the American League in batting average against. He only has a .210 average against him and just .192 since the All-Star break. He's pitched really good baseball here in the second half, and career highs in innings pitched, wins, you name it. It's been a career year for him so far.
So the Braves will have their hands full with Estrada. Straight over the top, and he missed for Markakis low. 1 ball, no strikes.
88 to 90 on his fastball, a curveball, and a changeup that he throws about 30% of the time. As seen here.
And Nick sprayed it back out of play for an even count. And a ball and a strike. I love it.
Good for you, fella.
Fly ball to center, and Pilar is there for the first out.
What a great sign. That's awesome.
Braves have seen Marco Estrada before. He's pitched with the Nationals and a lot of time with the Milwaukee Brewers. His previous career high in wins was 7. He did that back-to-back years with Brew Crew. He's got 12 victories this season. And like so many of his rotation mates, run support gets a lot of it. As he faces Hector Oliveira. And that one's hit right up the elevator shaft to the right side. Encarnacion at first is there. And Oliveira is out #2. A look at Toronto's defensive lineup tonight. One notable change, that's Dioner Navarro behind the plate. He gives Russell Martin an evening off. Well, Ryan Goins made a circus play at shortstop to rob Markakis of a third hit last night. One of the best plays we've seen by any shortstop opposing the Braves this year. David Price loved it.
Yonder Navarro behind the plate actually has a number that's better than Russell Martin defensively. Martin at 38% on base stealers. Navarro 43%, 9 for 21 against base stealers.
Two balls, no strikes. There's the change.
And obviously we'll throw it in any count. And we'll throw it back to back.
2-2. That's down the left field line. Late swing at a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Freddie Freeman. Base is empty. Home first. So he's doubled up changeup. He's doubled up fastball. Let's see what he does with this pitch. It was the change and it missed. Full count. AJ's next. Fly ball well hit toward left, but Revere is there and makes the play to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down in the Atlanta first. Scoreless at Turner Field.
Yes, Matt Whistler did an incredible job after Walker Revere facing 2, 3, and 4. When you see 30 home runs and 100-plus RBIs with each of those guys, hey, you don't want to walk that leadoff hitter, but he pitched like a man. He fired back with strikes, getting a strikeout, a pop-up, and a fly ball to right field. This is part of the growing up that we like to see these young Atlanta Braves pitchers do. And I can tell you as a former pitcher, if you ever get too fast out there, Matty, take some deep breaths, calm the game down, and just execute your pitch. The rest will take care of itself. Back to you guys.
Hey, Paul, I have a question regarding your conversation with him. I think it was yesterday, but or maybe earlier today, about his more aggressive approach. I mean, is that a concentrated effort to try to do that?
Yes, 100%. And Roger McDowell, we talked about earlier, was talking about Orel Hershiser, how he's has the nice guy image, similar to Whistler. He doesn't have crazy beard or tattoos, but on that 4th and 5th day, there was nobody else they wanted on the mound other than Orel Hershiser, nicknamed the Bulldog, came right at you. And he likened that to Matt Whistler with the sinker. Keep the ball down, go right at the guys, make your pitches, and you can be really special. That has been his whole game plan in bullpens. When he takes the mound, it's not mechanics, it's not stuff, it's 100% approach.
And already, Paul, we've seen an adjustment by Matt Whistler. He's working out of the stretch to start this inning, not out of the windup, as Gio Navarro is the Toronto hitter.
Chip, I'm crazy impressed with that right now. You're taking my job as the pitching coach down here.
Good Lord, if that happens,
I didn't
we're
even
in deep
notice
trouble.
that. I've been talking too much. Heck, look at that. Yes. So you'll do that sometimes. He's more comfortable out of the stretch apparently right now, and maybe that had something to do with the leadoff walk to Revere.
Well, I think it might go to what you said a minute ago, Paul, and that is if he gets in a hurry, take a deep breath. Well, maybe this is going to help slow him down a little bit.
I would agree with that. And, you know, when he came in out of relief 2 games ago, he just went right at the Phillies. And I think that's what they're looking for from him as a starter because, again, his stuff is so good. The aggressiveness and location should take care of itself.
In the air to left, and Swisher couldn't get there. So Navarro with a leadoff hit. And that's how the second inning starts for Toronto. And here's Ryan Goins. He's the Jays shortstop. If you've been following this series, you know the story about Troy Tulowitzki. He was hurt last Saturday at Yankee Stadium, a cracked shoulder blade. That's going to take at least 2 weeks before Tulowitzki can get back into the starting lineup. So Goins is getting the action at short. He's a terrific glove man, as we've seen.
He came in struggling a little bit at the plate, but he's been on base 5 times in the first 2 games of this series. 2 base hits and 3 walks. 3 walks, and he hadn't drawn 1 walk in his previous 6 games. And Freddie Freeman playing behind Navarro, who's not a stolen base threat. Give him a little extra room with the left-handed hitter.
Double play ball. There's one. Perfect feed. And the twin killing clears the bases. That's exactly what Whistler needed. And he got the double play. 2 outs for Kevin Pillar.
Nice quick backhand toss, chest high, tailor made.
Pillar has 10 homers and 47 knocked in. He doubled and scored last night, singled, stole a base on Tuesday night.
While we're on the subject of Whistler working out of the stretch this inning, don't forget last night we talked about David Price, and his windup, such as it is more like working out of the stretch. And when we see Estrada go back out there in the bottom of the second, you'll see him with a very similar windup / stretch work.
And Mike Matheny of the Cardinals talked about that earlier this year. Not so much with starting pitchers, but relief pitchers, wondering why they don't work out of the stretch all the time, because more often than not, when relievers enter the game, they're in trouble, or there is trouble on the base paths. Whistler wants a new baseball and will get 1. 3 balls, no strikes.
That looked like a real good sinker.
And 4 straight puts Pillar at first base. 2 walks in as many innings. And Cliff Pennington's up. Pennington's another hitter who had been struggling before he came to Atlanta. He's 2 for 7 in this series and has knocked in a couple of runs. There have not been many easy innings for Matt Whistler in his major league career. 81 career big league innings. He's gotten the side in order 1, 2, 3, 17 times.
That's a real small fraction.
So I say this without any sarcasm at all. He might be more comfortable out of the stretch because that's where he's pitched most of his big league career.
Good point. Keep an eye on Pilar here. Good pitch to run on.
Foul back. Pennington had a good rip at it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Of course, Pilar could run and make it safely, and the Braves could pitch around Pennington if they wanted and work to Estrada.
Again to the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Matt's 94 and an occasional 95 is not with a whole lot of effort. He's not falling all over the mound trying to rush it up there at that velocity. It's coming out of his hand nicely.
The 22-year-old right-hander ready to make a 2-2 pitch. See the pattern on the Fox tracks, keeping the ball away from Cliff Pennington.
Drop a deuce on him.
Deuces are wild. And it's a shot to right field that almost picked off Pilar. He's around second and on his way to third base. Toronto has him at the corners. Good at bat by Pennington. Fouled off 3 or 4 pitches. And Estrada now will have an opportunity to help himself. But the walk sets up a longer inning.
Yeah, Pennington had been getting some good swings on fastballs, though. He had been fouling off fastballs. That's why I thought maybe to change his eye angle, just to change the speeds, might do the trick. Maybe he'd roll over it. That was a fastball again, and he nailed it. Estrada just 1 for 3 on the year, 3 at bats, but had some at bats when he was in the National League with Milwaukee.
And there's a strike. It's 0-1.
He was originally a 6th round pick out of Long Beach State by the Nationals.
That's to second. Peterson's got it, and that will retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. A.J. Brzezinski leads off the Atlanta second. Say goodnight to the Toronto Blue Jays and then welcome the Phillies to town here tomorrow night, and it's zombie night. And if you get to the ballpark, you have a chance to get made up to look like a zombie.
I was just going to say, there's no way you can make that pretty face look like a zombie, but I was wrong. Oh, or that one. I think I'd flinch. I think I'd have my eyes closed when they're spraying my eyes, and I go, oh, wait a minute. I think I got something in my eye.
That would be problematic. Maybe we'll get Tom McCarthy, the Phillies broadcaster, to dress up for zombie night, or Matt Stairs, his TV partner. Then again, you would be able to tell the difference anyway. But there are tickets available tomorrow night for zombie night.
Just another day for them,
right? The Phillies and Braves. Weekend series. A.J. Brzezinski gets set to lead things off. Nick Swisher, Cameron Maybin to follow. Estrada got the Braves 1-2-3 in the first. And A.J. hooks that one out to second. And he's retired for out number one.
Joe, let's just go back real quick, Chip, to the top of this inning.
Yep.
For Matt Whistler, young pitcher, 22. Here's an example of how these guys have kind of made a lot of work for themselves and how they have pushed the manager to make decisions on them in pitch counts later in the ball game. He gives up the base hit to Navarro, okay, but he gets the double play. Look how hard he had to work after that just to get that out, and how many extra pitches he had to throw to get that ground out from the pitcher. There was a walk, a base hit on a deep count. So that's an example of some of the things these young guys have done to themselves at times where they should have had a quick inning. All of a sudden they got the ground ball they wanted, but then they extend it.
As a hitter, is it hard to learn how to manage an at bat at this level when you're learning on the job? And Paul is learning how to manage an inning like that, one of the last stages for a young pitcher to accomplish at this level, learning on the job?
It is a learning process, and you don't want to worry about anybody's ERA or how hard they're throwing. You want to watch what they do in those pressure situations. And I've always said a pitcher's like a sponge. Until you squeeze it, you don't know what's inside. So we're finding out right now how Matt Whistler can handle adversity, and I love what I've seen his last 3 outings so far.
12 extra pitches for him, Paul. So that kind of extra work does add up, does it not?
It does add up, and then you're going to face guys the second and third time through, and so you want to see him pitch those guys differently and still execute the pitches. So as you and Chip are talking about this, and I love your conversations tonight, by the way, you're looking for those things. That's what you're wanting to see if you're a coach or an Atlanta Braves fan, is you're wanting to see someone make adjustments and learn what they have to do individually to be successful at this level.
Cameron Maybin with a runner at first. And now you see the benefits for Estrada of that very simplified windup. It's almost the same motion out of the stretch. Very little extra movement out of the windup. And now working out of the stretch with Swisher at first after a 1-out walk. Cameron 0 for his last 11, just back from his eye infections, corneal abrasions. And his presence was sorely missed in the middle of the Braves batting order. A lot of his good work came hitting second. He's batting 6th here tonight. One and 2 your count. Estrada was acquired from the Brewers for Adam Lind, big first baseman that's had a nice year for the Brewers.
Sure
but they have 2 guys who can play first base, and they had a need in the rotation. Did Toronto. So Smoke can play first, Encarnacion can play first. Lind was an extra piece, and they They flipped him to Milwaukee and got a 12-game winner in return. And a swing and a miss. Maben's down on strikes. First strikeout for Estrada tonight, and 2 are out.
On changeup, 77 miles an hour. Looked like it was up too. He may have gotten away with it. And Cameron way out in front on it. Cameron 0 for his last 12.
Here's Jace Peterson. Had a nice chat with Jace the other day. This is a new time in his career. He's never played this many games at any professional level. And as Joe mentioned yesterday, a couple of days off hopefully will do his body and his offense some good. It's quite a shock to go from a minor league season to a major league season and be a full-time everyday player.
And as young as he is, his legs, for example, ought to bounce back pretty quick.
Two balls and a strike. Jace knows one thing he really hopes to improve on is his strikeout total. He leads the club in that category. Knows he has to cover that up. Fly ball down the left field line and into the seats. I asked Jace too, Joe, was there anything about your first full major league season that surprised you? And he said, no, not really, other than the length of the season. He thought that this year has gone from a personal standpoint about the way that it would, and justifiably very proud of what he's been able to accomplish on both sides of the ball. He's turned into a very sure-handed second baseman. Nice double play component with Andrelton Simmons. And a lot of big hits and run-scoring situations for the Braves this year.
I agree. His defense got better and better.
Popped him up. Donaldson says he's got it. It's a good thing because Goins at short never saw it. Right into that twilight sky, but Peterson pops out and we head to the third. No score.
Power and Zaxby's.
Beautiful night in Atlanta. Let's hope the baseball looks as big as the moon for the Braves tonight as they try to take 2 out of 3 from Toronto. Before we start the third inning, it's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #SouthDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Looks like Matt Whistler's going to work out of the stretch again as he has the top of the order coming up for Toronto. Revere, Donaldson, and Bautista. To second, Peterson to his right, got a tricky hop and threw a laser to first to get Revere. 1 out. And here is Mr. Donaldson. What a year he's having, Joe. Almost a season of historic proportions, as we see on our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
Yeah, batting in the second spot on the order, not a typical RBI spot. He has 109 RBIs. The most in history belong to Eddie Matthews and A-Rod at 114. I'd say he's got an excellent chance of breaking that record with a couple of weeks to go. Jay Bell's 111 RBIs came in '99 at Arizona when he played for the Diamondbacks. Oh, good pitch. Made him freeze. Donaldson gave up on it and caught the corner.
That's driven foul and out of play. Still no balls, 2 strikes. As Joe mentioned, it's been a rough series for the former Auburn star. Donaldson just 1 for 10 so far here in Atlanta. 3 strikeouts.
And right now the odds-on leader for the American League MVP.
Oh man, just missed. AJ held it there for a moment, didn't get the call.
That had it. Ring him up.
Got him anyway. Donaldson's had trouble with the slider this entire series. So here we are again, Joe. First 2 outs of the inning. Let's see if Matt can make quick work of the Jays.
There's that breaking ball at a perfect spot. Threw it right at the middle of the plate and then had it break off the edge of the plate where he couldn't reach it. 2 strikeouts tonight. That's 4 in the series for Donaldson.
Bautista popped up his first time. And he pops another one in the air to center. Maben broke back. Had a little trouble finding it, but recovers. And how about that? A 1-2-3 inning for Whistler. He's settling in. 3 outs on 8 pitches. And he's due second in the home third. Thanks to the Steal of the Week, you can get great seats to see the Braves and Cardinals during the final weekend of the year, along with a Braves Country grab bag voucher, all at a great price. With the voucher, you'll get to choose from over 25 Braves promotional items to take home as a souvenir. Go to Braves.com/grabbag and get your tickets today. And some great promo items this year. All the bobbleheads, the replica World Series ring was a very popular one.
Huge.
Kind of looking forward to the Zubaz Pants giveaway, which is coming up.
That's not the same night as Zombie Night, is it?
Oh, it was actually last night.
Oh.
That's why I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't got my pair of Zubaz. What's up with that? No balls in a strike for Andrelton Simmons. Maybe they had to stitch a couple of them together before they could bring them to him.
That would be, yeah, that was, you were beat me to it. Ran out of material.
Nothing here in the third inning. Whistler to follow. Fly ball, tomahawk towards center. Pilar drifts back, and he'll make the play for the first out. Jays are wrapping up a long road trip. They can't wait to get back to Toronto. They do have the lead of 3 games over the Yankees. They have the Yankees coming in the second series of a 3-series homestand. They've got the Red Sox this weekend, the Yankees Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Final 3 games they will play against New York head-to-head this year. Then the Tampa Bay Rays. They finish the season on the road. A week-long trip to Baltimore and then in Tampa Bay.
And they have not played all that well on the road. I mean, they're playing right at .500 ball, but not tearing it up. I think they've played better since the acquisitions came along. R.A. Dickey, former Cy Young winner.
Whistler rips that one off Estrada's foot, and that's into left field for a base hit. His second base hit, and he's aboard with 1 out. Estrada shaking that right foot. That was hit awfully hard.
May be able to shake it off now, but so did Williams Perez. Try to shake it off after he got hit hard. Williams was on the instep on the inside of his left foot. This looked like it was on the outside of his right foot for Estrada.
That's something the Jays obviously will be concerned with. They don't want any of their starters getting roughed up or hurt. Now they face Markakis. Nick fly to center his first time up. Man aboard, 1 out. And a tomahawk high pitch called a strike.
Second hit of the year for Whistler. He's hot.
That's over the Toronto dugout foul. It's 0-2. Nick Markakis has had a great year. A great year. Forget about the homers. Flirted with 300 all year long. 50 multi-hit games. Knocked in 49 runs. He's batted first to fifth all year. Multiple roles and assignments there. And he's been out there virtually every day. Sharply hit towards second. Ought to be 2. And it will be 2. Estrada gets a ground ball for a twin killing. Those are even, and so's the score. We head to the 4th.
Right stuff, low price every day.
No score after 3 in Atlanta. The Jays will have Edwin Encarnacion leading off the 4th inning. And Joe, he's the subject of tonight's Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
And boy, has he ever. Last night, 3 for 3 with a walk. That extended his streak of reaching base safely into 43 straight games. He lined out, was robbed of a hit by Markakis in the 1st inning. So he'll need to get on base to extend that streak at some point tonight.
That's a new franchise record for the Blue Jays, formerly held by Carlos Delgado.
Wow.
He was some kind of hitter, wasn't he?
Sure was.
So Matt Whistler had some issues in the 1st inning, a little more trouble in the 2nd, but got the top 3 hitters in order last time around. Let's see if he can settle in and have another easy inning. Encarnacion, Navarro, and Goins are coming up. We really haven't had a chance to see the Jays at full strength in this series. Again, with the injury to Troy Tulowitzki and the absence of a DH in the National League ballpark. But it's easy to see from what they did last night why a lot of folks really like this Toronto ball club, as that ball is hammered and long gone. A line drive home run for Encarnacion. What a way to pick up your 100th RBI. A solo shot makes it 1-0. They can do that almost at will.
Fastball about knee high, but down the middle. No doubt.
205 home runs now for the Toronto club. 33 of them by Encarnacion. And the Jays have struck first here in the 4th inning for Dioner Navarro. Think about this club. With David Price pitching, Tulowitzki in the lineup, Smoke at first base, and Encarnacion as the DH, or the other way around if you want. Encarnacion playing and Smoke DHing. That is a brutally difficult lineup to try to work your way through.
Like I said last night, there's just no place to go. Need an out. There's no soft spots when those guys are all in there.
Shot to right off Navarro's bat. He's 2 for 2.
But that was a leadoff homer. Nobody on base. It's 1 run. Don't make it a big inning. No, you just gave up a single to Navarro, but keep the ball down. Try to get that ground ball and shorten the inning.
So it's a fascinating discussion. Toronto's got all the hitters. I mean, they've got them all.
First,
right? Yeah. So you look at a potential playoff matchup for the Blue Jays. Right now, they would face the Texas Rangers.
The thing about their lineup that is so eye-catching is that there's nobody in baseball that has a team put together like this right now. We've been talking about the lack of hitting, the need. Everybody needs hitters, right? The pitching's been dominant the last 2 or 3 years. This lineup is different. This is a throwback. They make the trade for Donaldson in the offseason, which shocked a lot of people, me included, because he's not near free agency. It wasn't like Oakland was bailing on him because he was about to be a free agent. He's got a couple of years to go to get there. Arbitration, yes. They signed Russell Martin in the offseason. That was kind of a surprise to me from Martin's standpoint. But he could see what they were putting together, I'm sure, and was on board. Plus, he's a Canadian by birth.
ball, 2 strikes for Ryan Goins. And that one's lined to left. 3 straight hits off Whistler. Starts the 4th inning as he's in the lineup a second time now. And this is where his splits really start to climb rapidly.
Yeah, we showed you those numbers at the beginning of his start. His batting average against is in the 200s the first time through, and then it jumps dramatically. Also, those left-handed hitters have been wearing him out. There's a graphic again. Left-handed hitters coming into this game, we're hitting .350 against him. That's the 6th highest in Major League Baseball against a starter with his number of starts and innings pitched. But he's not alone. Of the top 16 in Major League Baseball with high averages against him by left-hand hitters, the Braves have 3 of them. 3 of 16.
And in our division, that's a problem.
Yes.
There's Pilar, 2 on, 1 in, nobody out. Pilar's the Toronto center fielder who walked his first time up. I want to ask you an off-the-wall question. Let's go back 20 years when the Braves played the Indians in the World Series. Does this Toronto offense remind you of that 1995 Cleveland offense?
Yeah, that was the only team in my head that I could come up with last night, and then I kind of got stuck on them where I couldn't come up with another one. The Yankees had a real potent lineup too when they were rolling and winning World Series back-to-back.
The Indians with Alomar and Albert Bell and company just mashed the baseball. This one's hammered foul.
There are a couple of other steroid era teams, right, that I hesitate to use the word loaded, but they were loaded up all through their lineup with guys that were suspect. So there's been some others in the not too distant past, but not in the last 4 or 5 years. This may be the best one put together.
And so what Bobby Cox always said about that 95 matchup, and he said it here when we had the Braves alumni weekend, the Indians team had the hitters, the Braves had the pitchers. So that asks the question, assuming Toronto wins the East and gets deep into the playoffs, can this lineup as envisioned be pitched to effectively enough?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I do know they can hit a fastball. So if they run into a team that's got power pitchers, which is usually what it takes to advance and have a chance to win the World Championship, they can handle the fastball, no question.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Kevin Pilar. 1-0 on an Encarnacion homer to lead off the inning. Foul away.
But that's going back to that Indians team, and in '95. That's another reason to be so impressed with what Tom Glavine did, throwing a 1-hitter over 8 innings against that lineup. Pretty incredible.
And David Justice homer, all Tom needed to clinch the World Championship. 1-2 pitch. Popped up. That'll be an infield fly. And Freddie Freeman tells Whistler to get out of the way. So did A.J. Przinsky. Hitters automatically out on the infield fly. 2 on, 1 away.
Gretchen just made another nomination with a good team, the Blake Street Bombers. What a good team that was in '95 for Colorado.
Galarraga and Bichette and Vinny Castilla.
But I think there were more than just a handful of good lineups in '95.
Well, the era, sure.
Yeah. If you want to start in like 2011 or 12 and work your way here, there's not that many, especially in the last 3 years.
Pennington's the batter. Think back to the Cardinals. At one point they had Albert Pujols, they had Scott Rowland. I mean, that was a loaded offensive team. Matt Holliday was on that team. But But you're right, this Toronto club in this era right now is truly a major league rarity. That's what makes them so intriguing and so dangerous. The old saying in baseball, good pitching gets out good hitting. We'll see if Toronto's offense can carry them through in postseason play.
Plus, they play in a great ballpark for them. Great hitters park.
0-2 for Pennington. Runner's got a walking lead, and Pennington swings and drives one deep to right field. Markakis won't get it. It's a 3-run homer. Navarro and Goins had walking leads. Whistler didn't step off, threw a pitch, grooved it, and Pennington hits his second home run as a J.
I don't know if anybody was yelling for him to step off or not, but they should have been. Navarro's mad at him because he was going to steal third base standing, the catcher. So instead of stealing third, he got to trot home. High fastball. Pennington was hitting a $120 something coming into this series.
So a 3-run homer on an 0-2 pitch. And a 4-run fourth for the Blue Jays. If guys like Pennington and Goins start hitting home runs, look out. 206 homers now for the Blue Jays. And the second time through the order has not been kind to Whistler. Estrada a strike. It's 1-2.
And sure enough, after the leadoff homer, it snowballed into a big inning.
Now Estrada serves one into shallow right, and that's going to get down for him.
Get them while they're hot.
Five hits in the inning. And Roger McDowell will make his way to the mound.
The home run ball hasn't been a horrible problem for Matt Whistler. He had given up 12 in his first 15 starts, but 4 of those came in one game at Chicago against the Cubs. And he's given up 2 in this inning.
Well, that's got to make a guy like Pennington feel good. He's
bragging to his hitting coach right there. Pennington was 4 for 39 coming into this series. Had 2 hits his first 2 at bats in this series and drove in a run. And now a big 3-run jack.
And the oft-used Braves bullpen has begun to work. Here's Revere. And he slaps one toward left. Swisher is going to get there near the line. And there's the second out.
Here's another cleanup hitter.
Yep.
I like your description.
They got 4 of them in a row when you include Russell Martin, Donaldson, Batista, Encarnacion, and Martin.
Add Tulowitzki and Smoke.
It's from a fan's perspective, I'm really disappointed we didn't get to see Tulowitzki in this lineup.
Yeah, me too.
See how it all works together. But quite frankly, the last 2 games they haven't needed him.
That team in New York that I referred to, 98 to 2000, when they were winning world championships, Knobloch, Jeter, O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, Posada, Brocious, David Justice, Chili Davis, DHing. And those guys were loaded left-handed for that short porch and right at Yankee Stadium.
Throw him another slider. 0-2. Encarnacion has homered. Pennington has homered in the Toronto fourth. Braves saw the Blue Jays in mid-April up in Toronto. First game was April 17th. And Donaldson hit his first 2 homers of the season against the Braves.
He's 8th in batting average in the league, 1st in runs scored, 3rd in doubles, 3rd in homers, 1st in RBIs, 1st in total bases, 2nd in slugging, 1st in extra base hits. And the RBI total, he's got a 12 RBI lead over Chris Davis of Baltimore.
Slowly hit to the right side. Peterson catches up. Can he get his man? And he did. Great play by Jace Peterson on the 30th pitch of the inning. That sends it to the home fourth. Toronto hits 2 more homers in the series. They've jumped in front 4-0. New York and Miami, our final 2 road destinations here in 2015. Thanks to our friends at Delta. They take such great care of us. We certainly appreciate that. As the Braves come up here in the home fourth, down 4-0. A couple of long home runs hit by Encarnacion and Cliff Pennington. Talked in our open about how these are dwindling opportunities for some of the young Braves and new Braves to make positive impressions for the home fans and for the Braves executives. Big planning meetings are underway in Atlanta all week long, and they are already formulating their ideas and thoughts of how to construct the 2016 Braves. And Joe, that was a point you made in our open with not just the pitchers but some of the hitters, and Hector Olivera is one of them.
Yeah, he falls into that category largely because these guys that are here for these meetings have never seen him play. There might have been a few at bats when he was at Rome or when he was in Gwinnett for sure, but everybody else are getting their first look at him to kind of evaluate him, see what he can do, see what he can't do. So I'm kind of hoping he gets a lot of at bats here over the last 2 weeks just to give us a better idea of what we see to evaluate for what that's worth.
Popped up left side. Goins at short. There's out number 1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Paul, you have a thought?
I do. I was talking to some of the players before the game, even Daniel Castro, who's had success up here, Hector Olivera, asking them respectively what their leagues are like, professional leagues in Mexico and Cuba. The one thing they said at the plate they have to get used to is a lot of 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. So then talking to Kevin Seitzer as well, he had mentioned some of the things that work on 85, 86 miles an hour doesn't really work with 95. So Oliveira, where he may wrap the bat, and Castro has to be ready for the ball in, ready for the ball away at high velocity. So I was pitching back to you, Joe. It's kind of like as a pitcher that you have to have a game plan that works in the big leagues that may not necessarily work in AAA. And I'm wondering what you see out of some of these hitters.
Well, that guy right there we just showed eating the sunflower seeds, Daniel Castro, has impressed me with his ability to go to right and his ability to turn on the ball down the line, that when they try to pitch him in with hard stuff, he's got real quick hands on the inner half, and he knows how to turn on it and keep it fair. So I've been impressed with that. And he's right, Paul. I played in the Mexican Winter Leagues twice, and first of all, you see a lot of grizzled veterans in that league that are native Mexicans, and they've seen better days with their arms, so they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you, a lot of off-speed stuff. So he's right in that regard, that there is a huge adjustment here. As for the Cuban leagues, I can't speak to that, but I know you're right. You mentioned the bat wrap for Oliveira. That's going to require some adjustment. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to do it at this point. He's 30 years old, but you got to be mighty strong and have great timing.
A.J. bats with a man aboard and one out.
To have that bat wrap and be able to catch up to 95 and 96.
Is that something they could fix during winter league action, winter ball? He's going to go down and play some winter ball games this offseason.
I think just playing is going to help Hector, because he's missed so much time over the last year and a half or so. He needs to play. But you know, tonight he's got 2 at-bats, and he's only got 43 at-bats since he's come to the big leagues. So he needs more of that, I think.
Tonight he's 0 for 2. AJ grounded out to second his first time up. Braves have 1 hit tonight. That was by the pitcher, Matt Whistler. Check swing, roller out to second. Ought to be 2. There's 1. There is the double play, and the Jays turn their second double play in as many innings. Shutdown inning for Estrada. Off we go to the 5th.
And here's why. First swing of his last at bat there, kind of a funny swing, and watch how he kind of bends over here, stretching his back like he hurt something, maybe strained something, And then on the swing running down the line, he's giving it all he's got to get through there and try to avoid the double play, but he was in obvious pain. And as we watched him walk back to the dugout, the guys in the truck are the ones that picked this up. Mike Winslow, nice job. In obvious stress there, distress. But he's got the gear on and he's back out there.
Still grimacing as Toronto comes up for the 5th inning with Bautista, Encarnacion, and Navarro. Freddie Gonzalez was hunched over A.J. Brzezinski while he put on the catcher's gear on the Braves bench. He had the lineup card out and kept asking A.J., I would think, can you go and should you go? But you know, Brzezinski is going to have to be dragged out of the game if that's what the manager has to do. No balls and a strike. And Bautista off stride, flies to shallow left. Anderson backpedals and makes the play. Bautista's 0 for 3 and 1 for 11 in the series.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that Donaldson's 1 for 12, Bautista's 1 for 11. They neither one have done a whole lot, but the bottom half of the order has been a killer.
Yeah, Pennington's knocked in 5 of the Jays' runs in the series. 5 of their 15. Nobody thought that would happen.
Let's go back to Oliveira for a minute. We were talking about him in the bottom half of the inning. And really not just Hector, but some of those other guys that the Braves want to see and see what they can do. But in Oliveira's instance, he hasn't played in a long time. They want to see what they hope they would see from him, what their eyes were telling them when the Braves tried to sign him last winter. But to do that, it's going to come at the expense of Adonis Garcia, who's the other third baseman. And Garcia could go out and play some left field if you needed him to and get him some at bats. But that's at this time of year, that's the kind of decision Freddie and his staff have to make with regard to the future. Which is more important? Do we find out about Oliveira now before we go to spring training next year, so we have at least maybe 70 at bats to base some thoughts on? Or do they continue to kind of platoon him and pick their spots for him?
Fly ball center. Encarnacion hit it a mile high, but Maven's going to catch it. And there's the second out.
I don't know this for sure, but I would assume that hamstring issue that was plaguing him when he first came up is not really anything that's a problem now.
I wouldn't think.
No.
But if you're asking me, I want to find out what he can do and can't do. I'd rather know now in what's, look, let's be honest, lost season as far as the one-loss record is concerned.
Right. And that's my point about making some decisions now on some people, or at least getting it clearer in your head what you're watching. Because 43 at bats right now is a very small sample size trying to make an evaluation.
Navarro hits with 2 outs. 4-0 Toronto the lead. Top 3 hitters for the Jays tonight are combined 0 for 8. However, lots of trouble from this spot down. And when he's missed, that's the side he's missed to. Arm side to the lefties. And high and away. He's up to 86 pitches.
Had a 2-0 count, tried to throw a changeup that wasn't close enough to get him to offer. So now there's no place to go except fastball down the middle. Fortunately, he was taking.
Full count. Well hit right center field. Markakis won't get that. It's off the fence. Navarro on his way to second. He's got a 2-out double and a perfect night at 3 for 3. That might have been a home run in his home park.
Yes. I think that's what troubled Encarnacion in the first inning when Markakis flagged that one down out there on the warning track. It was probably a home run in the Rogers Center. There is a lot of lift and separate in this lineup. Backup catcher, and it's his third 3-hit game of the season, so not a bad backup, huh?
Yeah. 2 outs for Ryan Goins. Navarro caught 139 games last year for Toronto at 481 at bats. Knocked in a career high 69 runs.
Ryan Goins, when Tulowitzki comes back, Goins will move back to second base. And don't forget, when we were in Toronto early in the year, we got a look at Devin Travis, who they had picked up from Texas and was very impressive in that series in Toronto. Solid hitter. And when he injured his shoulder after 62 games, he was hitting .304, and he had 8 homers.
Travis was the young man acquired from the Tigers for Anthony Gose after last season. Out of Florida State. Two balls, no strikes for Ryan Goins. 4-0 Toronto the lead.
That's where he got in trouble with Navarro. 3-0. Threw a strike. Threw another strike. And the third one, Navarro nailed it. But you're right about that arm side. Look at all those misses outside the zone on the right.
Line drive, base hit center field. Maben plays the hop. And no advance by Navarro beyond third base. And here we go again. More 2-out trouble for Matt Whistler.
Fastball, bell tie, behind in the count. Taking advantage of a hitter's count, not missing your pitch.
Archibald tells us that's his 34th pitch after 2 outs in an inning.
Boy, is that a lot.
2 extra innings of work.
And we're in the 5th.
Right?
Yeah. Edwin Jackson back up in the Braves pen.
High fly ball by Pilar to left, but this one's going to stay in play. Swisher's got it, and that'll retire the side. 2 hits with 2 outs. No more across for the Jays. We're halfway home in Atlanta. 4-0 Toronto leads it. kiss cam on the jumbo scoreboard here at Turner Field. A very special couple was on the kiss cam tonight. Not them. Not them.
Although they're special.
Well, yeah, but how about that couple?
Hey. Great to see the president back at the ballpark. Hope he's feeling okay.
As many of you have probably heard, President Carter is undergoing cancer treatment at Emory. And still a great Braves fan.
Oh, as big as they come.
Yeah. Great to see him at the ballpark with his lovely wife and former First Lady Rosalind Carter. Let's get some runs for the Prez. The Braves are up in the home fifth. Nick Swisher leads it off. Maven and Jace Peterson to follow. Atlanta has one hit tonight. It's from the pitcher. Nick walked his first time up and bounced that ball off his foot. He's not too happy about that.
He's been doing that a lot. Same foot.
Oh. I've said this to you a million times. My admiration for a major league hitter to do that in an at bat and know that the pitcher's going to throw something that's going to maybe have a hitter repeat that performance. Yep. And you got to stand in there with that heartbeat in your foot. I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
When that one lands on top of your foot,
yeah,
it feels like the bone on top of your foot separates from the rest of your foot. It's like there's a gap in there somewhere. It's
levitating.
Yeah, it's just levitating, trying to get out of your shoe. It wants to leave.
I can understand that, but it's unbelievable.
Oh, I've said it a million times before, but just if you want to know what it's like, go get your bowling ball, hold it about shoulder high, and just drop it on your foot. You'll get the same feeling.
And for the record, all of you 9-year-olds that are watching the game, don't do that to your brother or sister.
No.
Tonight. But you get Joe's point. Doesn't feel very good. 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a tip into the glove of Navarro. Swisher's retired on strikes, 1 out.
Well, you're getting a good idea when you just mentioned that the Braves have one hit, and that was by Whistler. You're getting a good idea why this guy's leading the American League in batting average against, and why it's sub 200 since the All-Star break.
And you know what, Joe? He too is pitching important games for the Jays. They haven't clinched anything yet, but with all the talk of the Blue Jays rotation, is Estrada going to be a part of it, assuming they get to postseason play? You know who their number 1 guy is going to be. That's going to be David Price. We have not seen R.A. Dickey in this series. He's a former Cy Young winner. Figure he's going to be in the rotation.
The one thing they've worried about with Estrada is innings. They're trying to guard his innings because of he's at a point he's never been before.
Mark Burley, as we saw in the opening game of the series, a great craftsman. Doesn't throw hard, but has had shoulder problems. And Marcus Stroman, a youngster we also haven't seen, is just back from a knee ligament tear. He was a double-digit winner for them and throws hard. He might be in their postseason plans. So, hey, if Estrada pitches like this, it'd be awfully hard to ignore that kind of a performance.
His last 9 starts, we just showed you that graphic, a 177 average, so that's gone down. He's now up to 57 2/3 innings over 9 starts plus tonight. And he's only given up 34 hits over that stretch.
Wow.
In 57 2/3 innings, 34 hits. That's outstanding.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And full count now for Cameron Maybin.
And he pitches. You know, he's throwing 88 to 90 with a breaking ball and a changeup.
There's a base hit for Cameron, his first since his eye difficulties. Second hit of the game for the Braves. The other thing I like about Toronto's staff is they have a lot of different looks. David Price can change speeds with all of his pitches. Dickey's a knuckleballer. Burley's a soft tossing left-hander. Stroman throws a million miles an hour.
97.
And you've got this guy who changes speeds and is not afraid to throw his changeup at any count. So I would think from a hitting standpoint, game to game, that would be very difficult to adjust to. One on, one out. Jace Peterson, the hitter. And he pops the first pitch up left side. Donaldson in foul ground will have plenty of room. And 2 are out. Just 64 pitches for the Toronto right-hander. Andrelton Simmons bats. He's 0 for 1. Pedro Siriaco will hit if Andrelton can keep the inning alive. Line, flag down at second base. What a play by Mr. Pennington. He is having an unbelievable series at the plate, and this time with the glove. Leathered larceny for Cliff Pennington. He robs Andrelton Simmons and breaks the Braves' hearts in the home fifth. Well, lesser known names that have done good work, and Cliff Pennington's one of them.
High fastball, and he just went up to it and launched it. Turned a 1-0 game into a 4-0 game.
That's our Toyota key play of the game. And how many times do you see it?
Quite often.
Guy earns our Toyota key play of the game honors and leads off the next inning. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Whistler back out there for a 6th inning. And delivers a strike. That's one of the things you do as a hitter, is you look ahead to see who's leading off the next inning for the other team, and you try to hit the ball to them, give them a chance to make a good play. That was a great job by Simmons when you think about it.
Smoked it too. I mean, got there really quickly. 1 ball, 1 strike. And way outside. .98 pitches for Whistler. 35 of them have come with 2 outs in an inning. He's had just 1 1-2-3 frame. That has been a recurring theme for the young righty. And gets Pennington to fly out. There's 1 down. Estrada's coming up. He's got a base hit tonight. Let's check out tonight's AT&T Universe trivia question. And tonight's question, the drum roll is, name the only 2 players in Major League history with a 15 home run season with the Braves and the Blue Jays.
2 players who had 15 or more homers for both the Braves and Jays.
Barry Bonnell.
Barry Bonnell, wow. Good one.
That's old school Braves stuff right there. As Marco Estrada is the hitter. There takes a strike.
Fred McGriff.
That's got to be it.
Don't you think?
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, it was great having Fred here in town for the alumni weekend. He was kind enough to join us in the booth. He still looks like he could hit 4th in a big league lineup.
I agree.
And
I agree. Don't tell the Blue Jays that, though. Okay?
Yeah, right. But
they got enough.
Isn't it great that guys like Fred McGriff, who had such great success in the major leagues, are coming back into the big league fold and working with organizations?
Yes.
And passing along their wisdom, their knowledge, their experience. There's Estrada's down on strikes, 2 outs.
And you know what else I'm happy about is I'm glad there are more and more African Americans doing that. I'm really pleased to see somebody with the influence of a guy like Fred McGriff and what he can mean to young African American players. And I wish there were more, but that's a great thing.
I'm sure Fred's opinions are being heard this week with all the organizational meetings that are going on. Well, that's another area where the baseball business has changed, has it not? You're a big league executive. There is no off season. There is no clock.
Nope.
I mean, I have such great admiration for John Campolella and John Hart and the hard work that they have done. We'll see if the fruits of the labor play out the way they hope it will. But the countless hours they spend working feverishly to get this Braves organization back to where they want it to be is simply unbelievable. Home 6th coming up. 4-0 Toronto.
Sirianko is about to pitch hit for Matt Whistler. Braves country, have you gotten your Tour Championship tickets yet? If not, now's your chance. Get a Braves Field Reserve ticket for any remaining game this season and a Saturday Tour Championship grounds pass for only $89. That's a savings of up to 34%. Go to Braves.com/PGA for more information. If you're looking at the half-empty, half-full glass scenario for Matt Whistler, the half-empty part is he gave up 2 home runs and 4 runs in the 4th inning. The half-full side of the equation is his other 5 innings, he didn't give up much. Scattered some hits around, but didn't give up any other runs and finished with a 3-up, 3-down 6th. There's Pedro Sirianko, pinch hits.
Only 66 pitches for Estrada. His season high is 118. However, that particular game, he almost threw a no-hitter. It was against Tampa Bay, at Tampa Bay on June 24th. It was broken up with an infield single with 1 out in the 8th. He worked 8 2/3 that night, gave up 2 hits, shut him out, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Pitched against him again in Toronto and shut him out on 3 hits over 8 innings and beat him 4-0. So with all those games coming up with Tampa Bay, they don't want to see this guy.
Right. No balls, 2 strikes. And Pedro couldn't stop his swing. And he is retired on strikes, 1 away in the 6th inning. That is the 3rd strikeout for Estrada.
For Whistler, 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 2 homers.
Out of his 6 innings, he had 2 1-2-3 frames. Top of the order, Nick Markakis. And a little low, 1 ball, no strikes. That's headed back to the press box to our left and out of play. It's 1-1 as we approach 9 o'clock.
Nick has played in 144 of the Braves' 147 games.
And for a man that we weren't sure was going to be ready to answer the opening bell, that's remarkable.
Right in the mask of Navarro. He appears to be okay.
Told you earlier tonight, Nick with 50 multi-hit games. D. Gordon of the Marlins with 2 more. Joey Votto. Got to be talking about him in the MVP race in the National League too, don't you?
Nope.
No?
Not my race. Nope.
Ripped down the right field line.
Fine season.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I'm sure he's going to get some votes.
Yeah, he will. He will. Because the writers can vote for first, second, third, fourth, and so on.
Right.
So he would definitely get some votes.
That guy in Washington, 40 home runs. 6th youngest to 40. Bryce Harper. In the air to center. And Pilar's got that one tracked down. Easy play.
None of them cheap either.
No. There was in their series against the Phillies, there was a milestone homer for Harper. Facing Aaron Nola That's the first man that he's hit a home run against that's younger than him. And Bryce Harper now 95 career homers.
Goodness.
At 22.
We get to see him back here again when the Braves return for that last homestand. Nats and Cardinals. See the return of Jason Hayward too for the last 3 games of the season.
I think we were struck by how much more mature Harper looked as a hitter when we saw him up in Washington. Ground ball towards short. Oliveira rolls out, and Estrada rolls on. 3 up, 3 down. 7th inning. The 4th inning. Time for tonight's Zaxby's indescribably good play. Braves fans are great fielding fans. Check this out.
Take a look at this catch. I mean, if that was the outfield wall, this guy went up over the wall and brought it back, saved a homer. Look at this. Now, this lady appears to be a little upset, but that's not how you wear your. If you're going to bring your glove, put it on. It's not a bucket. She'll get over it.
Yeah.
Big Canadian fans, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Still loving that Montreal logo.
Right.
That's a beauty, wasn't it?
I think Toronto's going to play the Red Sox in Montreal a couple of games next year. Regular season games, from what I'm told.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, you know, they'll pack the place. They had 50,000 plus for some exhibition games. That is still a very, very good baseball market. The strike really hurt the Expos in '94, and the lack of revenue sharing probably killed them too. You and I were talking about that before the game tonight, as Edwin Jackson comes in to face Josh Donaldson. Just think how differently baseball would look if the Expos had their new stadium, had the revenue sharing, and were still battling away in the National League East instead of, say, the Nationals. Man, hope they get a team back.
Me too.
Warren Cromartie, the former Expo, is heavily involved in groups trying to bring baseball back to Quebec. High hopper toward third. Oliveira's got it. Donaldson's disappointing series continues. He's out number 1 here in the 7th inning. 0 for 4 tonight. Going back to your realignment plan that you were talking about last night, or the realignment plan that you liked so much.
Simpson system?
Yes, yeah, I like it. I like it. Imagine a rivalry that would feature Toronto versus Montreal and all the cultural subplots that would take place. Not to mention the baseball stuff.
Yeah, it would be a great thing.
Bautista 0 for 3. Well, you figure you have a series where Donaldson's 1 for 13, Bautista's 1 for 11, and they've combined for 1 RBI, you'd be sitting pretty. Unfortunately, that's not the case for the Braves. Navarro's had a big game tonight. Pennington's knocked in 5 runs. Russell Martin has knocked in 4. And 4 straight puts Bautista at first with 1 out.
I know this isn't factual. Maybe it just seems this way, but I swear the Braves can walk a batter faster than anybody I've ever seen. Are they throwing 4 balls to these guys, or are they letting them go to first on 3?
I don't have an answer for that, but I know what you. It's.
I mean, you just blink and it's like, oh, that was ball 4 already.
Here's Encarnacion, and the tower's buzzed.
Well, if I could get in Edwin's ear, I would let him, Encarnacion, I'd let him know that this was not intentional. It might serve a real good purpose, but I watched Edwin Jackson warm up, and there were a couple sailing to the backstop in that same general direction.
That one cut on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. We've seen a couple of awkward swings from Encarnacion in this series. Looked like the left hand came off the bat with that cut.
Well, that was an overswing trying to send a message back to the pitcher not to buzz the tower again, but he missed.
2 fingers taped together. Big knuckle, you said, on the left middle finger. Right?
Correct. One thing that might help relieve some of that pressure on that knuckle, which is on his bottom hand, would be to get off the knob because of the strength of his swing, the speed of it, all that weight that goes against the knob and the pressure against his hand. But the chances of getting him off the knob of the bat are zilch because he is swinging it.
Yeah. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bautista very short lead at first, and he's taking off, and it's bounced foul. Encarnacion was up and down in the red system for a long time between AAA and the big league team. Scott Rowland wasn't happy in Toronto, wanted to come back to the National League. Well, Encarnacion was traded for Scott Rowland. Encarnacion now 32 years old.
Is that a 1-for-1 deal?
No, there were other players in that one. Let's see here. Josh Renicky and Zach Stewart for Scott Rowland. July 31st, 2009. Three-two pitch popped up and playable for Markakis in right. And there's the second out. And here's Navarro. Let's see if Jackson can solve him. The Honor's got 3 hits. Navarro first broke in with the Yankees 2005 played with the Dodgers and then went to Tampa Bay in 2006. Back to the Dodgers in 2011. 2012 24 games with the Reds. 2013 with the Cubs. This is his second season in Toronto.
I think AJ wanted that one. And I think Lance Barksdale knows AJ wanted that. Foxtrack says Barksdale got it right.
Fly ball well hit toward left center, but not well enough. Navarro's perfect night comes to a close, and we've made it to the 7th inning stretch. Marco Estrada's throwing a 2-hitter at the Braves and leads by 4. American League Ball Club in 2015. With that in mind, let's check out the playoff picture over in the junior circuit. Toronto with their slim lead, the Royals a gigantic lead, and Texas has extended its lead in the AL West.
Yeah, but look what Minnesota's doing. They're only a game and a half behind Houston for that second wild card, and they're coming on strong. Angels not out of it, but they lost again last night in Seattle.
What a trend we've seen in Major League Baseball, Joe, the last 4 or 5 years. Men who have never managed before getting managerial jobs, and a couple of them, you believe, are candidates for Manager of the Year.
Well, I love Ned Yost, and we're all partial to him because of the time he spent here in Atlanta. But I have to say that those other 3 guys are probably the odds-on favorites, especially Paul Molitor and Jeff Bannister, who, as you say, are in the first years of managing. Now, I asked the opinion of some scouts today, and I gave them those 4 names and asked them to tell me who they thought was the guy who was the odds-on favorite, and the response I got was Paul Molitor, because the Twins were so young and nobody expected anything from them.
And they weathered the crippling loss of Irvin Santana over the first 80 games. Remember, he was suspended the first half of the season. Interesting, there hasn't been a lot of talk for John Gibbons in Toronto. Here they are, a team that took off after the trade deadline.
Well, and keep in mind, they haven't been to the postseason in 22
years,
yeah,
right?
So this is quite a season for this ball club. It's a shame that nobody gives a manager credit, and in some cases Ned Yost too, for having a club that was successful last year in Ned's case. So it's just the same team. And in Gibbons' case, it's like, well, you know, all you got to do is write those guys' names down the lineup. What else you got to do?
Yeah, well, if you don't have them, right?
Right. Yeah, and so he's not going to get the respect he deserves because of the talent that's on this ball club. And I think that hurt Bobby Cox a lot of times.
Fly ball well hit toward Bautista in right. He's sprinting to the track and gets there for the first out.
Because of the big three? Yeah, well, you have those three guys pitching. You know, why wouldn't you win 3 out of 5 games? So I don't think Bobby got the credit he deserved for managing and handling a ball club the way he should have over the course of those 14 championships.
It's an interesting thing to ask it this way, but I will anyhow. I like managers who get the most out of the least. And when you think of the payroll in Minnesota, a lot of no names in their starting rotation. And as you said, the youth of that ball club.
Well, that's why Ned should have been the manager of the year last year, for bringing that Kansas City club along, having the patience for the last 2 or 3 years before that, and have it come to fruition for them.
AJ skies one into shallow right.
He's not swinging very good.
No, he's playing hurt tonight.
He's swinging like his back hurts, just all hands and arms.
And quickly 2 outs in the 7th. One of the many things I admire about Ned Yost is his frankness. I mean, you ask him a question, he'll tell you he'll tell you the truth. The dramatic change in Ned Yost as a manager is noteworthy too. I know of his unceremonious departure as the skipper of the Milwaukee Brewers in the final couple of weeks of the season a few years ago. He learned a lot from that, and he's much more comfortable in his skin and doing a great job in Kansas City. Michael Bourne pinch hits, pops out. We're off to the 8th. Estrada tonight. As we promised you earlier tonight, we've selected our Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #SouthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile.
I know Bark in the Park day is coming up pretty soon. Oh, sorry, there's the T-Mobile folks. KG, that Alpharetta guy, good picture. Nice family. Bark in the Park Day's coming up pretty soon, but it's already Bark in the Park tonight, and that's probably Nick Swisher's foot.
Oh, yeah.
After he got pinch hit for by Bourne, I'll bet his foot was barking after that foul ball, and that's why they had to take him out.
And A.J. Brzezinski's back, too.
Yeah.
And Michael's going to stay in the game to play left the rest of the way tonight. Goins, Pilar, and Pennington are coming up for Toronto. Swing and a miss. Goins is down on strikes for strikeout for Edwin Jackson. One away in the inning. Here's Pilar. He's walked, popped out, and flied out. Phillies are here tomorrow night. Williams, Perez, and Adam Morgan will pitch in Game 1. Fireworks after the game. Zombie night as well. Bouncing ball foul at third by Pilar. It's 0-2. Cubs were winners today against the Pirates. They took 3 out of 4 in Pittsburgh. Big series for the Cubs, who are now within 2 games of Pittsburgh for the top wild card spot. As this one's hit towards short, Simmons has it. And his throw to first in plenty of time. Hard slide into second base by Chris Coghlan. Knee to knee. Jung Ho Kang. Broken fibia, torn knee ligament, done for the year on that play.
I saw a replay of it. It was really sad to see. He was in a lot of pain.
Looking at the replays on the slide, Coghlan went in sideways, I guess, to the second base bag. He was within arm's length of the bag, but his leg flew up. Jung Ho Kang's agent posted a comment that said, look, it was a hard baseball play. We don't believe that there was any ill intent, so I don't believe anything's going to happen for Chris Coghlan.
I wouldn't think so. He's not that kind of player. He's a hard-nosed player,
right? And
that's a big series for both of those teams. So both teams trying to do their best to win. But he would never do anything to try to hurt anybody, in my opinion.
So a very sad day in Pittsburgh for the Pirates, as Jung Ho Kang lost for the year.
They've had infield issues. I mean, Harrison was hurt, Mercer was hurt.
But that's not the only loss for the Pirates and their fans, and a loss for those of us in our industry. Loss for Braves country. Great voice of the Braves for so many years. Milo Hamilton passed away today. Most recently, the Hall of Fame voice of the Houston Astros, and a man that's forever linked in Atlanta Braves history for one of the most iconic calls in broadcasting history, much less baseball history. Then, of course, Henry Aaron's historic home run that saw him pass the great Babe Ruth on the all-time home run list.
Yeah, and in the Hall of Fame.
Fly ball into shallow center. Pennington will be retired. And let's remember the late, great Milo Hamilton. May he forever rest in peace.
Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron. The fireworks are going. Henry Aaron is coming around third. His teammates are at home plate, and listen to this crowd.
Braves have but 2 hits in the ball game tonight. Estrada has pitched a beautiful ball game. He has had no stress whatsoever tonight.
No, 2 hits, 2 walks. And even when he's warming up, you're not sure if he's practicing working out of the stretch in case he needs it, or if he's just doing his windup, because they're pretty much one and the same. It'll be interesting to find out from Matt Wisler after the game, though, about working out of the stretch after the first inning, and if he felt like that was calming, was more consistent in his mechanics, if he just more comfortable that way. Be able to find out, hopefully relay that to you on Braves Live in the post-game show.
1 ball, no strikes for Cameron Maybin, who's 1 for 2 tonight. Snapped his 0 for 12 with a 5th inning single. The only hit by a Braves regular in the game tonight. Matt Wisler had the other safety.
Okay, what's...
Hey, Paul, Joe here.
Gotcha.
Estrada is giving everybody a good lesson tonight on how to pitch without a 95 fastball. Pretty impressive.
Yes, he is. I couldn't agree more. I really liked how you guys talked about the different stages that a rookie goes through. Getting a guy out 2 and 3 and 4 times into the lineup is one of those stages. And you're right, Estrada is giving you a lesson on how to do that by throwing a lot of different things at you, hitting his spots, giving you different looks, not falling into a pattern.
Yeah, and he's had a lead since the 4th inning, but it's not like a 8 or 9-0 lead. He's had to protect against that, but nobody reaching.
Strike 3 outside corner. Maybin has a long look. And he is the 9th consecutive man set down by Estrada tonight.
As we watch this pitch and see if Cameron had a reason to beef. And he hit the target, so that gave him the reason perhaps to ring him up. Paul, I remember you making a change in your windup. You went to that old pump handle windup.
Yes.
And sometimes do it twice, kind of old-fashioned. Why did you do that?
Well, I didn't have a fastball that was very good, and I had shoulder surgery. I had 2 elbow surgeries, and sometimes, you know, if you have to get guys out with deception. Everybody talks about movement, location, and velocity. But one of the things that's not mentioned that affects a pitch is deception. And so I tried to do different things to throw the hitter's timing off. Yes, I did the double pump. I think if I stuck around long enough, Joe, I would have done the hesitation pitch. But, you know, it was just something where I was constantly trying to give people different looks and throw their timing off to equate for lesser stuff.
Cued toward third. A lot of spin. Donaldson stayed with it. 2 out.
Well, in some ways, this guy reminds me of you a little bit, Paul. I think you threw harder than Estrada, but he reminds me of you in the way he's worked tonight.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, Joe, I would have given up a few home runs because I was all about entertainment. And I was a fly ball guy. But I do appreciate the compliment. And early in my career, I would have thrown harder than him. But, you know, the last 5-6 years of my career, no. When I hit 91, you know, it was a team party after the game. So, but I appreciate the kind words.
2 outs for Simmons. Home 8th. Swing and a miss. I love looking at Paul's windup when he did that.
Oh, I did too.
And you know, the old timers too, and the black and white grainy film archive photos. That's the way seemingly everybody pitched back in the day.
and it looked like, you're right, Paul. Deception wise, it looked like you were about to throw one about 104.
Line over second and into right field. Simmons around first is aboard with 2 outs. And Todd Cunningham, I believe, is going to come up. Yep. So that snaps the 10-in-a-row streak retired by Estrada.
Fastball away, similar to the pitch that he was trying to, or did throw to Maybin, but that one came back over a little more to the plate. Nice swing there by Andrelton. Yeah, nice place to pick up a couple of runs right here, headed to the ninth.
And Joe, I've got a question for you too. One of the things I learned was if you don't have a high velocity fastball, but you have a very good changeup, that changes the whole game. And now all of a sudden your fastball's good enough. And I feel like that's something that Matt Wisler, if he could learn, would be able to change, revolutionize his game, I guess.
I don't disagree with you, and he can throw hard. I mean, he hit 94, 95 several times tonight. So that will just be accentuated that much more if he's able to get that changeup under control.
Popped up by Cunningham, straightaway center, and that's going to send our game to the ninth inning. Marco Estrada has pitched brilliantly tonight. He leads 4-0. Estrada pitched to beauty. 8 innings of 3-hit shutout ball. He's going to be taken down for a pinch hitter as the Jays come up here at the top of the ninth inning. Before we forget about it, let's revisit our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Who are the only 3 players in Major League history with a 15 home run season or better with the Braves and the Blue Jays?
I'm sticking with Fred McGriff for sure.
I'm going to go Barry Bonnell.
Okay, I like that.
We got to have a third one. Who's the third one?
There's only 2. Oh, it's 3.
It's 3.
Oh, I quit thinking because there was only 2. That's a shocker. Okay, so we need a third.
Oh, it was 2. They changed the question.
Did they really?
Yeah. Can you believe that? They've been ratted out by the rest of our crew. They changed the question.
Is that right?
How about that? Well,
we'll see about that.
Huh. We're going to think about it some more.
Yes. I'm not going to answer it right now.
We'll show them. And Sugar Ray Maramone is the new pitcher in the ninth inning. Ezekiel Carrera is the pinch hitter.
How about Ernie Witt? Could he have hit 15 homers for the Braves?
Maybe. Damaso Garcia? Trying to think who all the guys were that played in Toronto and Atlanta. Can you believe that? Here we are.
That's sneaky, boy. I mean, we're just scrapping for all we're worth. We're doing everything we possibly can to climb back in the race on the trivia question. We're trying to make it respectable, and they change the question.
We are right now in mid-broadcast bitter.
Yes.
Sharply hit. Simmons to his left. And he throws out Carrera. His number should be 9-11, by the way. But there's the first out. Okay, so let's think about. I can't think of anybody else. You know, I'm so bitter. I don't even. You don't really. I mean, it's like I'll go with Whit, Bunnell, and Fred, and then I'm not playing anymore.
You're going to take your scorebook and go home, aren't you?
Pretty much.
Yep. All right. I don't blame you.
Can you see? It even made me feel bad that I hadn't read it correctly.
Yeah. Here's the answer. We don't even. Oh, now we have to wait. Line drive to second. 2 out. Okay. Here they are. But this question is under major protest. Major protest from the booth. Here's the answer. The 3 players. Fred McGriff, Troy Glaus. Forgot about Troy Glaus.
Yep.
Enrico Cardi. That's still a win for us.
Oh, there's a disqualification.
Yeah. Change the question. There ought to be an investigation. I think they're just afraid of your answers. That's why. They knew you had it. So they cheated. Swing and a miss by Donaldson. 2 balls and a strike. Troy Glaus in his year with the Braves, Aloysius tells us, had 16 home runs with the Braves, but he had, I'm guessing, 15 of them in 1 month. He had that.
Yes, May.
That May.
Oh, it was May. It was crazy. He was
All
player of the month.
Yeah, right. Well, hit by Donaldson to right. Markakis as far as he can go, and that one's in the Atlanta bullpen. 39 homers, 120 RBIs for Donaldson. A no-doubter. There was a lot of frustration taken out with that swing.
1 for 13 in the series, and you bet he saved his best for his last at bat here. Fastball outer third, got it out front. And into the bullpen.
For a right-hand hitter, you got to be a big, strong man to hit it that far and that high in this park.
That's a pretty good poke.
So the Jays have hit 3 more homers tonight. They have 207 as a team. And with their 5-0 lead tonight, they have outscored their opponents by 210 runs. That's the largest run differential in the game. They have scored now 103 more runs than the second place Yankees.
Wow.
Three and 1-2 Bautista. And he walks with 2 out. This has been a recurring problem at times.
We've been talking about their league stats or major league stats, and they're at the top of so many different categories. But for the Braves to have won 1 game in this series, you look at these numbers and you think, okay, good, they won 1, and they've got a chance for a second if they can rally in the 9th. But they're first in runs per game. Braves are not. Home runs, Braves are not. Extra base hits, the Braves are not first. Goodness gracious, what an offensive machine. 207 to 88 in homers.
Well, Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion alone have hit more homers than the team in Atlanta at 3. Nothing in 2 for Encarnacion. His 4th inning home run got the offense started for the Jays.
So look, it's quite obvious that the Braves and Toronto are in much different places as far as where they're going to go this year. But this is an important benchmark for the Braves to look at. This is where you want to go. This is what you aspire to. Got some work to do. And a fly ball to right will end the inning. Toronto with 3 homers on the night. They lead 5-0. And we go to the bottom half of the inning.
Delta Airlines and your local Ford dealer.
5-0 Blue Jays as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning here at Turner Field. And Braves fans, thanks to the steal of the week, you can get great seats to see the Braves take on the Cardinals during the last weekend of the year, along with the Braves Country Grab Bag voucher, all at a great price. With the voucher, you'll get to choose from over 25 Braves promotional items to take home as a souvenir. Visit Braves.com/grabbag to get your tickets today.
Yeah, the most popular giveaway item is changed trivia question card. That's a very popular item. You won't want to miss that. Won't want to miss that. As Roberto Osuna is on to pitch the bottom of the 9th inning. And Justin Smoke's taking over for the Jays at first base. Top of the order for Atlanta. It's Markakis versus Osuna in the 9th.
Leads their team in saves with 16. And having a great year. A 2.02 ERA, as you saw, and a 181 average against him. He's only allowed 40 hits in 62 innings.
You know what else you like about Osuna? He's not just a 3-inning save guy. This is not a save situation. But 4 of his 16 saves have been more than 3 outs. That is extremely rare in this day and age of Major League Baseball.
Mid to upper 90s fastball, change up and a slider.
Pretty interesting too. This guy's a rookie. Be interesting to see how he handles postseason pressure, if he has to protect a 1-run lead with the game on the line.
Yeah, he'd never pitched above A ball before this year. He's 20 years old.
Right. Out of Cuba. To the left side. Donaldson's got it. And Markakis played perfectly. And there's the first out of the inning.
You don't get to see too many 20-year-olds. Missed most of last season with Tommy John surgery.
He's made the jump from the Gulf Coast League to the big leagues.
Yeah. Do I have the right guy here?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's listed at 6'2", 230. Does he look 230 to you?
Looks pretty solid, but I don't know. Yeah, that's him.
Maybe he's dropped some poundage. That is some kind of fast arm action.
He was pitching in the Mexican League at 15. Wow. Back to the mound. Easy play. One Cuban to another. Oliveira rolls out to the mound. And the Braves are down to their final out. Pretty impressed with this Toronto ball club. Offensively, I think they're as good as advertised. And they're pitching with Price and Estrada tonight. Terrific.
Yeah, that pretty much backed it up. We knew they would come in here and hit. But Estrada tonight was very impressive. I think we got what we expected from David Price. Marco Estrada was outstanding.
Freddie Freeman takes a strike. If the score stands, Estrada will win his 13th game. Matt Whistler will fall to 5-8. It'll be 9 consecutive winless starts for Matt Whistler.
15th shutout of the Braves.
And this will even up the all-time series head-to-head with Toronto, 20-20. Popped up. Revere says he's got it, and he does. And the Toronto Blue Jays have taken 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. They pick up a half game on the Yankees in the AL East. The Yankees were idle tonight. Toronto now with 85 wins. The Braves suffer their 90th loss, and Toronto shuts us out on only 3 hits. 5-0 your score in Atlanta. We'll recap it for you right after this.